Every video about AI running your business tells you exactly the same thing. Set it up, walk away, let it run. I have a couple of dozen of these systems running our shop right now. Staff, stock, vendors, everything. And I'm going to tell you something. None of it runs without me. My background is in hotels, is not in software, so this is not a developer talking to you and telling you how clever my tools are. This is really an operator that is telling you what happens after you build the thing. 30 years of running hotels has really taught me to keep systems alive. That's what no one tells you. So here's the method and where it still needs my hands. When people now are saying they use AI for the businesses, they usually mean that they're still using chat. They open up a chat, they ask it a question, it gives them an answer. That's not what I'm talking about here. I run two lanes, and keeping them separate is the whole trick. The first lane is plain chat. I describe the job just as I would describe it to a new manager coming in on the first day. What happens, who does it, what goes wrong, what I must never do. I keep on talking until what comes back is something that I would actually hand over to a person. The second lane is the coding lane. It gets the full description once I've talked it through with chat. I have a command that I have developed with chat, which I then will feed into code, and it will never get half of what I was thinking. It'll get the full scope of it. And that order is obviously very important. What I did in the beginning is I went straight to code, spoke with code, and it gave me software that worked, but actually that solved problems that I didn't even have. There is one rule that I brought with me from all my years in hotels, and that has saved me a ton of time, and that is that you do not write a command or a procedure for a job which you have never actually done yourself. In a hotel, you learn very quickly that you could have a manager that has never worked the front desk. They can write you a checklist that nobody actually understands. So you can have somebody that has worked at the front desk at 7 o'clock in the morning and can write you a checklist that is much shorter, that everybody can follow, and is much more effective. So I only automate jobs that I've actually physically done myself for, in my case, a couple of years. You know, every intake, every label, every price, every message to every vendor, etc., 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 that I've done manually, and that took me a lot of time, and where I made a lot of mistakes. Those are the things that I've actually been able then to automate because I've been able to explain them properly in order for me to be able to get the system that I'm looking for out of it. And this is why the system fits, is not because the AI is clever, it's because I knew the job that needed to be fixed, and I was able then to explain it properly for it to be done. And if you take one thing from this video, my recommendation is that whatever it is that you try to automate, please do it by hand first, many times, in order for you to really know the nuance of what it is that needs to be fixed. That way you can properly explain it and get the outcome that you're looking for. So now the part I promised, and this is that they break. Something falls if you're not watching it, and you're expecting things to run smoothly by itself. It doesn't. Not always. It can, but you shouldn't count on it. And more likely than not, especially in the first 2, 3, even 4 months, that you are monitoring what AI is doing so that you can fix all the issues before they actually happen. The thing is, you can always ask AI, are you ready to do the thing that I asked you to do? And it will tell you if it's ready or not. And if it isn't ready, you can fix it before it happens. But even when it does, or is supposed to happen, if it doesn't do it, well, then you can go back and you can fix it and make sure that it doesn't happen in the next run. And even in the next run, there could be other things that go wrong that you may have to fix. And that is the nature of this. It doesn't happen on its own. You actually have to go in there and work on it and polish it and make sure that it gets better over time until you don't need it and you want to change the system and do something different, of course. What we need to understand is that the AI built the worker, what and the worker is the program. And so it isn't AI that you're counting on. You're counting on the worker that was built by AI. And if anything slightly changes, well, then that worker can do things wrong. And that is why you have to go back to AI and fix it every time. I can tell you, I build systems here that need to be updated and changed all the time. I always think of new things that it should do and continue to polish it. And that is why that program also needs to be updated in order to be able to perform in the way that you want it to perform. And the new instructions need to be linked with the old instructions in order for things not to trip over and fall. I ran hotels for 3 decades, and for anyone of you that knows, hotels are full of systems just like any other business, I suppose. And I can tell you that there is no system that runs without a person actually minding it. There's always somebody there to do the job and to make sure that it's done properly. And so the idea that software should run or runs differently is just something that, people sell, but it isn't actually true, at least not yet. If you want this, then you should plan to be the operator. And that is what we do. And this is the whole reason why you should put the systems in place so that you don't have to do it manually yourself, which will take a lot longer. Building these systems took me about 4 to 5 months. It wasn't a course, it wasn't a weekend. It was 4 to 5 months of actually me learning how to do things and thinking about the things that I actually wanted to fix. Lucky for me, I had been manually doing this, so it was easy for me to say, okay, these are the things I want to get fixed. And I was then able to explain to AI what it was that I was looking to do and give it proper direction on the design of the system in order to perform the duties that I needed to carry out. When I first started to do this 5 months or so ago, I was very excited and I had a lot of things that I wanted to hand over to AI and design. So I did everything at the same time. I had 5, 6, 7, or 8 even projects going on at the same time. And I would literally be awake from 3 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock or even 11 o'clock at night, constantly trying to design these tools. If I could start all over again, or if I had to start all over again, I wouldn't do that. I would make a list of the jobs that I would want to hand over to a system, the ones that I have to do most of the time, that would annoy me and would take most of my time to do, and tick them off one by one. In 1 week, you can do one task. And so it accumulates very quickly. And then you'll have systems suddenly in a few months that will be able to do a lot of the things that you're currently doing and free up a lot of your time as well. In my case, trying to do too many jobs at once because of my excitement cost me in the long run, in that I had to continually fix the systems that I have built because I didn't build them properly from the beginning. So you're much better off just building it properly from the beginning and then moving on to the next one as that job has been completed. So that is the setup. 2 lanes, only automate the things that you have done manually and that you can properly explain, and the things that actually annoy you and can really save you time. On my next video, we'll be talking about the month end. Of course, we have to wait until the month end for that to happen. And so I will be filming that live as we go so that you can see exactly how that operates, the reports that it generates, and how I make that happen. I think that could be genuinely very useful for people running their businesses in whichever size you're running your businesses at, that have to deal with different makers and different customers. It could be applicable to many different scenarios. If you rather learn with someone who is doing it rather than selling you something, subscribe. We are figuring this out together, seeing what works and even the things that do not work.